Is South Africa's batting below par? Or are you guys satisfied with the way the batting lineup is performing and the way that South Africa is performing and the way Boucher is setting up our batting lineup? Particularly, let's look at the last T20 that we played. The batters that Boucher selected with regards to Quinton de Kock, Temba Bavuma, Janneman Malan, of course, Aiden Markram, David Miller, Rassie van der Dussen. Are you guys happy with those batters as the top six for South Africa? And do you just think that they're batting below their ability, or do you just think that the strategy is below par? These are all questions that I would like to answer on today's daily show. So get get to it now in the comment section. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Myself and Aditya are obviously going to speak about this in depth, and we're going to talk about it and where South Africa should go, what sort of strategy they should be able to put in place, considering the batsmen that we currently have in the setup and in the squad. If you're new to this show and you're new to this channel, please subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Don't forget to smash that like button. We're going to aim for 30 likes on this particular video. So let's get straight into today's show. Really excited about this one. Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid. This is my co-host Aditya, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Today we decided to focus on the batting and talk about the batting style, talk about the batting system, talk about the batsmen in general, and think about whether they are below par or not. What you guys think, of course, about the batting lineup and South Africa's batting. There's not much time left until the World Cup. So there's not a lot of series, specifically in T20 cricket, until we get to the World Cup. So South Africa obviously have to make sure that they get their ducks in a row. And certain batsmen need to get their form to the level that is respectable and to a level that is acceptable for South African batting unit. Myself and Aditya have been speaking about this for quite some time. The review show yesterday, we went into heavy depth with regards to everything. We went into massive detail about every single player in that top six. We even went down to 7 and 8, talking about KG and whether he can put some things in place to create a batting quality that is going to push him up the order. Maybe he can become a number 8 for South Africa. Now, we also spoke about Boucher's role, maybe getting a batting coach in to help the level of coaching that is being given to this batsman. Because I mean, they have a bowling coach, they have a fielding coach, but they don't have a batting coach because Boucher's doing both. So it's a bit of an issue, I think, because I think that a good batting coach will transform this batting lineup into something general. But we also have to look at the approach and the style of cricket that South Africa want to play. So, Aditya, welcome to the show again. Let's talk about this. I mean, getting 160s on these slow wickets or 165s on these slow wickets, we've been seeing this as a consistent thing for South Africa recently. We are struggling to get past that 170 mark consistently. We need to be able to try and score big scores, especially in T20 cricket, because if we face teams like England, we have proven in the past that they can chase down big scores. I mean, we're going to be meeting them in the T20 World Cup, so obviously we're going to have to prepare for that. And we need to be able to put things in place, and we can't just rely on our bowlers to bail us out all the time. So looking ahead to the World Cup is very important, and finding those guys that are the perfect combinations for T20 cricket. I personally thought that the lineup that they picked yet in the game yesterday was a perfect top six in my eyes from a South African point of view, because we don't have any big hitters in the side. Now, if Dwayne Pretorius comes back, that will change around a little bit. If Dwayne comes back, I think you drop one of your one other Janneman, either Aiden or either one of the the performers that are not performing well. So we know about Pavuma, and we know that he hasn't been performing. But being captain, he probably won't get dropped. So we need to see him as a surety in the side. So that means that the only other guys that can be dropped is either Aiden, Janneman, um, and perhaps maybe we can look at someone like Rassi and David Miller. But generally speaking, those are the guys that they are looking at. Now, I don't think that Aiden should be dropped at all. So let me just get that out of the way first and foremost, because I believe that Aiden has shown the quality in T20 cricket to be one of our top performers. I don't think Rassi should be dropped either, because he's been most consistent white ball cricketer. So Janneman hasn't really been given a chance in the T20 format as much as we'd like. Yet he was the person in the lineup that performed the worst out of the guys in this last match. So he will probably be the first fall guy if Faf comes back. I don't see them dropping the captain, and unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to work around that. There's no point in us calling for Pavuma to get dropped, and the coaching staff don't believe that that's going to be the case. And currently, Miller is almost, in a way, someone that can't be dropped because we don't have any number sixes that can hit the ball a long way from the get-go. And we were hoping that Miller can show that recently, but he hasn't really come to the crease immediately, and this went haywire, like we know Miller time. So I'm just looking at every single person in the particular order and trying to see, with the lineup that we currently have, I believe that they did perform under par. I believe that this batting lineup that they picked yesterday could do better than they have been doing. What is your thoughts on it, Aditya? What do you think South Africa's batting lineup is like, and how do we improve it?
Look, South Africa has the talent. The batting order on paper is supremely talented. But what's happening is that we're not able to get the best out of these players simply because they're either playing in the wrong positions or they don't seem to have a game plan that is adaptable to a variety of different conditions. And that to me is problematic, because Enoch said in his press conference that the players welcomed the challenge of playing in different conditions and adapting, as they did in West Indies, Ireland, Sri Lanka, and then the World Cup. So that to me is the challenge, because as Zubai said, Rassi should be batting at 4. He's batting too low at 5. And my question generally for the team management is that versatility is an attribute that we're looking for from players, but that's not the quality that you need to look at. You need to look at with respect to every single player, because before going into this series, or let alone this series, before going into the Pakistan series, for example, we knew that Quinton de Kock and Temba are going to open the batting.
Yeah.
We knew that Rassi is best suited at 4. We knew that David Miller is best suited at 5, and Dwayne Pretorius at 6. So you've actually got 5 out of your top 7 in set positions. You've got those answers. So my question is, why do you need to then create more questions? Your only problem then is number 3, right? So what's happened through the course of these series is that you've shuffled around what is not broken, essentially. Yeah. There's no point in fixing what is not broken, because now Rassi van der Dussen, who was confident in his role at number 4, he was scoring runs. He made 56 in the first T20 against the West Indies and contributed to a somewhat respectable total. But now he's gone 4 matches without a significant score, and suddenly going into the World Cup he's going to be short in confidence. What sense does that make?
Exactly. And my point of view is that when I say perfect top 6, I mean it's probably the best batsmen that we have currently in the side that were played currently in the setup, based on performance, based on based on form, etc. I'm not saying this is the perfect top six. I believe that we obviously need someone that can finish. I mean, because David Miller is almost like your perfect top five, a perfect number five, sorry, because it's easily adaptable. A number five can come in when we lost quick wickets, but it can also be someone that comes to the latter stages and pushes you forward. And where number six, you're expecting to kind of come to the crease and instantly put pressure on the opposition. Take one or two, three balls to get in and have a go. Or maybe take an over to get in and then have a go. Not two overs or 2.5 overs to get in first. So I don't believe that this is the perfect top six that we can create if we had to take a year out and build a team. But I think it's the best batsman that they could have picked from when you're looking at the squad. I think all Boucher did is just he picked all his informed players. That's all he did. Other than Bavuma because he's captain, but the rest he just picked his best that he can find for each. Tried his best that he can find. Now, Abai gave us a super chat and he asked us about Pat van Bouillon. Now, I don't consider Pat van Bouillon a power hitter either. Yes, he can hit the ball a long way, but I think he's also a type of batsman that needs time to settle in because he bats much higher up for the Knights. He used to bat much higher, number four, number five, maybe for the Knights. Tshwane Spartans, etc. I mean, there too. Obviously, took AB took preference, so AB takes the main slot in the team. But Pite was the second most favorite of when it comes to Mark Boucher. Mark Boucher was a big fan of him. I don't see him as a big hitter though. When I'm looking at big hitters, I'm thinking of guys that can smack the ball from immediately, almost instantly. You know that can really put pressure on the opposition when they come to the crease. No, majority of the time in world cricket, you're looking at guys that are all-rounders that are doing that jobs. So those are the type of things that you're looking at. And when Abai says the stats show that Pite was reliable, hit from ball one, yes and no, because the MSL is not the same as international cricket. We didn't see that type of Pite from Bouillon on the international stage. And as we can see already, the guys that are really doing well in international cricket, because then we should put Vian Libbe into the equation, Marco Murray into the equation, because they've all been performing really well at MSL as well. So I don't think that that's the level that you can compare it to. I think it's a multiple options. Now, Aditya, there's a problem because the difference between South Africa and the rest of the world, I would say, is that South Africa don't actually have a lot of batsmen that are playing in the IPL or playing in tournaments around the world, that T20 tournaments around the world. So we can look at Quinton de Kock, obviously, and David Miller. Rassie in some. But ultimately, Rassie didn't get much of a chance in the IPL yet. So it's one of those things where South Africa have a lot of batsmen they don't have a lot of batsmen that are actually playing in the IPL. Whereas West Indies, for example, have quite a few. Majority of
every single one of them.
Yeah. Every single player, apart from the youngsters, of course, the few youngsters that are coming in, but every single one of them play. England, majority of them play. Australia have a lot of them in there. I mean, New Zealand have a lot in there as well. So the guys that we are looking to compete with, their batsmen are getting picked in the top flight across the world, and South Africa not so much. So it's an interesting one. But how do you feel that that's very important when judging those guys? Should we have maybe gone deep and looked for a number 6 specialist?
250%. It's an important consideration because, among other things, the leagues offer exposure, right? They offer exposure to a variety of situations. As an overseas player, you're under more pressure because, let's say, you're talking about the IPL. You know, you're trying to hold your place, given that you're one of 4 overseas players in a team, and there is always an Indian to replace that position or an overseas player to replace that position. So you're out of your comfort zone. You're playing in a foreign league. You're fighting for your place, and you need to perform. But that environment generally, it does help you as a player. There's no question about it. And you look at the evidence, because South Africa was performing at the global standard till at least 2018. You look at that team that you look at South Africa's ODI team, for example, 2017-18. Quentin de Kock, Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis, A.B. de Villiers, J.P. Duminy, David Miller, Chris Morris. All 7 of them played the IPL. Hashim Amla was knocking hundreds in the IPL. So there is an obvious link between the degree of a team's success in white ball international cricket and their participation in overseas leagues. So there's an obvious link. And right now, apart from, as you said, Quinton de Kock and David Miller, there's no one else playing in these overseas league, and it shows. It shows in the brand of cricket that South Africa are playing right now. Hopefully that will change.
Yeah, and the problem, I think, is also it's so close to the World Cup right now. So for South Africa to be able to find that person right now, it's a little bit too late. But I think that they have their eye on Dwayne Victorious being that person. My only concern is Dwayne missed 2 massive series for South Africa in T20 cricket. 2 series that were very important for him. 2 series that were very important for South Africa to actually play their best 11. That's my concern. Faf hasn't played. I don't know if Faf is going to play in the Sri Lanka series or not. So that's going to be a problem. He's not, as you were saying.
It's confirmed.
So, okay, cool. So he's not going to be playing. So that's another issue. So do you just bring it's the same as the A.B. de Villiers situation? You bring in your star players in right before a World Cup and expecting them to just hit the ball running from the get-go. Faf has the ability, of course he does. Faf can do that from the get-go. He's done it so many times. I just want to pull up Bavuma's stats actually for you guys and look at some of his averages for in T20 cricket. If I'm looking at it right now, is this the 2020? So this is all of his T20s, including the domestic seasons as well, I think it is. So, I mean, 2018-19, he averaged 37.76 in 19 matches, 17 innings in total. In 2019-20, in 9 innings, he averaged 39.44. Then in 2020-21, he played 10 innings and he averaged 33.25. So, which I think is domestically very decent for guy to be playing that type of performances. So in our domestic setup, he's been decent. Maybe the last season he wasn't so much, the T20 Challenge not so much, but the season before that when the Lions won it, he basically led them to that title. There was that 100 that he scored, a massive 100 that he scored to win in the title. So the strike rate is also, yes, you can look at the strike rate, but if Bavuma is playing a certain role in the side, having that strike rate at 120, 130 is okay if there's guys around him that is smacking the ball and smashing the ball around. So it's one of those things that we have to look at. I'm not necessarily sitting here and defending. I'm just saying that we need to consider everything, and we need to look at it from South Africa's point of view and from Boucher's point of view, and we can only work with what we have over there, of course. Now, I know a lot of you saying there's no 50s. Internationally, no. But domestically, he has been hitting them. So in 2018-19, he scored 102 250s in 19 games, which is not something to run home about, but it's something that we have to look at why Boucher has trusted him and why Boucher has picked him. And you can't use the race card. So if you guys are going to start saying it's because of race, it's not because of quota, because we are meeting the quota requirements without Bavuma being there. The 2 Black Africans are in the team consistently. There's always been 2 or 3 Black Africans that they've picked They've picked Andile Pefekwayo, they've picked Lungingiri, and they picked Kagiso Rabada pretty regularly. When they're not, Lutusa Pamla played a lot as well. So from a Black African perspective, they have been picking their Black African quota. I'm trying to also look at it and understand why they made Bavuma captain. Quinton struggled. They tried with Quinton. They struggled. And Quinton struggled. He couldn't find his. It wasn't looking like the same player. And yes, it was only one series that he captained as, or one or two series that he captained as a T20 captain. But I felt that Quinton did better in the limited overs than he did as a test captain. You know, like in the limited overs, he was actually performing quite well. So the reason why they dropped him as limited overs captain, I thought that was a bit harsher dropping from all captaincies, but maybe he felt that he doesn't want to take it forward. The Bavuma captaincy was puzzling to me, because when it came out, it was a shock for me, because Bavuma wasn't in form. They spoke a lot about picking a captain that is performing as well. They spoke about that beforehand. They said they want to pick up. They're picking Bavuma and they're picking Dean Alga because the guys that they're looking at, or the person that they're looking at to take it forward, wants to focus on his performances first and getting his performances on track, and before they pick him as a captain. So Bavuma and David and Dean Alga are supposed to be fillers before they select the next in line. But that's puzzling to me, because Bavuma wasn't in form when they picked him. He was also searching for that form. His role has now been switched from becoming a more senior player in the side now that other guys have retired. So it's mental. It's crazy that's the way it is. And I can see how she's telling me, yes, the Josie Stars didn't win a tournament. They didn't win a game in the MSL. It was very disappointing in that particular MSL, the last MSL. All players struggled, including Chris Gale. So you want to go after someone like Temba Vuma, go after Chris Gale too. Then I just want some fairness in your judgment of players. I think that certain players get it a lot harder than others. I think people are a lot more harsh on Bavuma than they are on other players that don't perform. That's all I'm saying. It's just that I just want to see you guys give equal criticism when it comes to our players. Don't criticize players more harshly than others, because there are a lot of players that haven't been performing in this top 6 for years now, and it has got nothing to do with PLN's selection. And I just want to put that out there, because that's not the reason I feel that they selected Bavuma as a player and as a captain. Just want to put that out there. But we have to also speak about it and say, yes, he's not in form and he needs to get in form. And if he doesn't get in form before the World Cup, it's very interesting to see what Dutch is going to do about that, Aditya.
Look, I don't think they're definitely going to drop him, but it's certainly going to be a matter of concern with respect to South Africa's chances at the World Cup, because you don't want to go into a World Cup with your captain under as much scrutiny as Bavuma is under right now. And again, in an ideal scenario, as Enoch said, they want to have that top order stable. If Faf du Plessis, the star player, isn't going to play a single series before the World Cup, and we can sort of see why, then that puts the team in a difficult position, because it means that the 11 that will have played the first game of the World Cup has actually never played before. And I suppose Faf can't play the series because he's playing the 100 right now in England, and thereafter he's going to play the IPL in the UAE. So there isn't going to be enough time to play the series before the World Cup. And it's the same. We have Chris Morris is not available for selection, so I think we've got that confirmed as well. And Imran Tahir, we don't know.
Still don't know, and that is also another baffling one for me. It's like I don't understand how they just leave Imran Tahir out of the equation completely. So yeah, and I see people telling me judging Gale to Bavuma is the biggest joke. I'm not judging the two. Please listen to what I'm saying. Please carefully listen to my words that I use. I did not compare the two. I just said that Ashit mentioned the Josie Stars last season, and that he was in the team and that they lost every single game under his captaincy, and that is true. But their entire batting lineup didn't perform. The year before that, majority of their batters performed. Riza, Rassi, so many performed. Whereas in the Josie Stars had an awful tournament. After they lost Enoch as a coach, I think Enoch had a massive influence on that team in their first Super League that they played. They lost him, and the team just looked out of sorts the entire season. You can't blame Bavuma for them losing every single game. Like, that's where the unfairness I get. That's why I get irritated with some of the unfairness that they're showing. But currently, yes, he's off form, and he needs to get on form. And nobody should be, in my eyes, should be undroppable. In my eyes, nobody should be undroppable. Everybody should be judged fairly according to their performances. But let's see what happens. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please smash 30 likes on this particular video. Also subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. I hope you guys tune in tomorrow again for another daily show. We're going to probably do a preview show tomorrow as well. So just stay tuned for all the shows on Cricket Fanatics Magazine. Subscribe and click that notification bell. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys again very, very soon. Take care, everybody.